McClunky!
Hello there.
McClunky.
Oh shit, wrong one.
Just all
Fuck you
don't
guys!
say it.
Like, what the hell?
We all knew the assignment.
Well, I honestly should have just been like, McClunky.
I was balls deep into the Wikipedia on German plate armor.
Jesus.
We're looking at Spyhanders here, Kyle. Help a brother out.
Because tomorrow Richard is going to be streaming him making some armor. Check that out tomorrow.
Heaviest armor ever worn.
No, I won't.
It weighed 39.24 kilograms.
You can check it out on his YouTube channel,
Of
Brutal Richard.
Henry VIII.
Hey, and also I wanted to mention this. Thank you, Dan, for the subscription for 6 months. Really appreciate you keeping that up, man. You're a true homie.
I mean, I got to pay for us somehow, am I right, boys?
You got to pay for your membership to McClunky.
Yeah, like I thought that's how this works, no?
We've been saying that to everybody.
Yeah, start coughing up, bitches. Stop paying your rent.
So Maharana Pratap is
What'd
revered
you
as one of the strongest warriors in India as ever seen, and standing at 7 feet 5 inches, he would carry a 80-kilogram spear and 2 swords weighing around 208 kilograms in total.
What?
And he would wear armor weighing 72 kilograms. Guy was a fucking tank.
I'm very bad at kilograms. Can someone put that into pounds?
That would be about, so he would carry an 80-kilogram spear, which is about like 180-ish pounds.
Holy
Two swords weighing around 208 kilograms in total, which is like 420-ish pounds, maybe more. And he would wear armor at 72 kilograms, which is like 150-ish pounds.
Well, there's your lesson, your history lesson today, folks. Holy crap.
Yep, anyway, thanks for tuning into McClunky Squad. We're out of here.
People were built different in the 1500s. Like, holy shit.
Built different.
If we went back there, they would like kill us with a flick.
Yeah, I think denim's heavy.
No, I mean, I'm sure if you pulled out a 9mm, I'm sure they'd shit themselves and you'd win that fight. Is what I'm saying.
Bam!
Yeah, pop. Yeah, you know what I mean now?
Okay, dude, sure.
Right, plate armor ain't gonna stop that. Actually, it might, to be fair.
Alright, so what we talking about
I
today?
don't know how good that is, actually. Did they test that on something?
Yeah,
What?
they always test it.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about
We're
Andor,
talking about-
episode 9. We're
As you
here.
can tell, we really enjoyed the episode, hence why we're talking about plate armor and Zweihanders.
Because I like the thing is like I'll acknowledge like that like yeah like this show does bore me, but like I think next week I'll appreciate it's like the thing where it's been every arc I kind of look back on, I'm like, okay, it was good after 3 episodes.
I like this episode. This episode was intriguing.
Yeah,
It was intense.
I
I
love
think it was quite intense.
Yeah.
I think this show is both boring but also very, very interesting at the same time somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Like, I think every episode is good. I like the overall story. I do think it didn't need to be about Cassie and Andor. It could have been anyone.
Yeah, really.
But overall, I every episode I enjoy, even if I'm like, oh my god, how long is this episode?
all the 3 episode arcs could have been literally about different people.
Yeah.
Well, and like with this one too, like because this one's going off of the 3 episode arc because I would say we're still gonna be in the prison next episode, right? So it's been 4 episodes of kind of not meandering in the prison, of course. There was the first episode, which I guess was episode 7. That was what the director called a like middling episode. That didn't even conclude. I guess it did conclude with him in the prison, but going to prison, not even like anything.
The prison stuff's weird for me. Like, I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I really enjoy the prison arc that they're doing right now. But I think aesthetically, it does not look like Star Wars.
No, yeah. It reminds me, I don't know if this is accurate, but like the THX thing or whatever, or like even like Space Odyssey, like that kind of
It
aesthetic.
reminds me a lot
like
of like
Willy
Camino.
Wonka.
It's,
Yeah,
It's
it
like
reminds
they're in
me
the
of
Willy
that
Wonka
Camino,
Clone
that's for
Wars.
sure, yeah. But
Like I don't know, like them sweet ass Nikes that the Imperials are wearing. Like,
oh right, because yeah, Richard, we didn't even have you on last week, so like in general, I guess we haven't really like had you to even discuss in general what you thought about that. So like, how do you feel with the Nikes?
I mean, look, here's the reality.
Are they too goofy?
I think they look dumb as shit in Star Wars, but I would pay an exuberant amount of money to have them in real life.
top dollar to have those Nikes.
I'm fine with them. Like, I think that it's such like a thing. It's something that people focus on intensely, but it's like it's just in a scene for like a second. To me, like I don't even really care. You know, it's cool.
I wish I knew what they were making in the prison.
I don't think that we're ever going to learn that, actually. And if we do,
I think
it's cool, but...
They're making fucking
It's like ion engines.
hex things. I don't know.
Something
It looks
that goes
like
into a
they're building
TIE
Lego
fighter.
Connects.
I think it's part of the ion engine, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing would, because, and I didn't, this is not an original thought, Star Wars Explained was talking about this, how it would be interesting if, like, they literally are building this, but they give it to the other, like, floors or towers, and then they disassemble it. And it's literally just like a cycle of just making these people do work, just to make them do work, make them suffer. I think it is leading to something, admittedly. Like,
this old man having a fucking heart attack. And
I don't think we're going to end up seeing, like, oh, this shipment is going to Scarif, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what? It's gonna be like a ship's flying away, and then Cassian's like, I recognize that part on that ship. I know what to do with this.
Yeah.
You might be
I think
onto
that
something.
would actually help me because I think the prison scenes are really, really fun, but they don't feel like Star Wars at all to me. And it like showing me what they're making and like how it fits together in the Star Wars universe, I think would kind of suck me back in. But as much as I love this prison stuff, it just doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. It feels like a completely different show.
Yeah, it feels more like a Prison Break type show as opposed to Star Wars.
Well, I think
Well,
that's what they're going for here.
What's funny about that is, like, because the director specifically said that, like, with Star Wars, it's hard to direct it because there's always hope. That's the big theme in Star Wars. Hope is always there.
Fucking,
And
I want to
in the
fucking
prison,
kill anyone who says that.
in the prison, the hope is absent. It feels like, right, for the most part. Like, we see little subtle things of, like, oh, there are, like, things they're doing. They're cutting away at a pipe to, like, do something, and they're making little plans. But it feels hopeless. Like, it feels honestly like this is an impossible place to get out of.
I kind of get the exact opposite
Yeah.
from that. Yeah, like to me, it feels like Cassian goes to jail, and within 60 days or something, he's like making plans to bust out of here. It's
we got
like
this.
they spent no time in there before Cassian's like, all right, here's the plan to get out.
So,
Like,
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is, like, I think if a normal person, right, was in here, it'd be like, fuck.
yeah.
If you're like an
yeah, for
Olaf
sure.
or whatever, Olaf, something like that.
Ulaf.
It
Olaf.
almost feels like needlessly cruel to me, and like,
Empire.
well, that's the thing. Like, look, I'm not the kind of person that like really believes the Empire did nothing wrong, but I do think that there is something to be said about the way the Empire was handled in the old stuff versus the new stuff. Like, it feels like the new idea of the Empire is to make them just cartoonishly evil, whereas they were a little bit more kind of ambiguous in the older stuff. They were bad guys, but they weren't necessarily evil, if that makes sense. Like Palpatine is, obviously, but like the Empire themselves mostly just kind of maintained order. And that's kind of where that sentiment comes from, of the Empire did nothing wrong, because the Republic was doing way worse.
Yeah, the Republic was just massacring people that weren't interested in joining.
Right.
Because to them, they were like, well, you're cis, then we're getting rid of you. And it's like, ah!
Yeah, it kind of seems now like the idea is to just show like everyone in the Empire is just super evil for no reason.
That's a huge thing in general. That is, I was actually thinking about it last night. It's funny that you bring that up because, like, when we see all these Imperial people, where did that suddenly all come from, right? Because if the Republic,
that's
is,
what I
like,
mean. They're
good,
enlisted soldiers.
Well, no, but even the higher ups, right? Because it's like the mentality when you were working in the Republic was like positivity. I'd say at the very least. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, we're doing good. But when you're in the Empire, it's like, are we the baddies?
That's kind of my problem with the way that they portray the Empire right now.
I agree, yeah.
The Empire, realistically, is just the Republic, again, just restructured. It's the same people. Like, most of the people that are in the Empire are the same people that were in the Republic. They just changed the way it's run. They didn't just turn cartoonishly evil overnight. These are just people with jobs. You know, like Palpatine's evil because he's a goddamn Sith Lord. But like Joe Schmuck, who's a prison guard, that's just what he gets paid to do, man. He's not the devil. Like, it's kind of ridiculous to me just how evil they like. It's like the new way of handling the Empire in all Star Wars right now is to just show like they're bad guys.
I think a character that's in this show actually that is a good example of that is like Yularen, where it's like you see him in the Republic and it's like, yeah, like he seems like an honorable good dude, and then even in Rebels it was like, okay, he seems like a guy who's just trying to get the job done, but then in this show it was like, oh, you're like evil. Like, you're like in this Empire and you believe it. Like, that was, I wouldn't say it's not a bad thing. It's not the worst thing, because like most people watching a show probably don't even fucking know who Yularen is, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, and like I don't want to complain too much about because the Empire's they've always been the bad guys, but I do think that they kind of like steered really hard into like mustache twirling, evil, like tying people to train tracks bad guys now.
Tying people to chairs and making them listen to screams of dying, like men, women, and the children.
Right. And it's like before the Empire was bad, but like we knew that like the stormtroopers were enlisted soldiers with jobs. And you know, that's just what they're doing. And like we even see that with the new movies, the sequel movies, like Finn's character. He's an ex-stormtrooper. And like that I think that the point of his entire character is to show that they're not all bad people, you know?
Yeah, they are just people that were like...
They're just people
especially
with jobs.
in that case. Well, I mean, in that one, it's even a little bit different because they were like taken as children, right? There's even like a darker thing. There is almost a thing when you look at like the stormtroopers of this Imperial era where it's like they did enlist, right? Like, it's,
Yeah, I have a question.
Yo,
where do all these humans come from?
What do you mean?
There's like the Empire is made up of like millions of humans specifically, but like,
oh yeah,
where do they come from? They don't have a home planet. They don't have anywhere to go.
I think that like a lot of the core worlds, like I think Alderaan is like all these like core worlds are mostly human, right? So I think Coruscant is like even though there's like a smorgasbord of other races, I think it's like human is like the core.
Yeah,
thing.
I think that humans are like the majority of all of the species in the galaxy. There's
Crazy,
more
man.
humans than anything else, and the Empire is just straight up xenophobic.
Yeah, they made that pretty clear.
How can you be
Like,
so xenophobic in fucking space, man? Like,
That's very true. I agree.
I do.
It's just
I
classic
really enjoyed
racism in general, right? Like I think if we went into space, I don't know if we would like lose our racism towards each other inherently, right? But I think we would change and be more mad at the other thing. We would be like, fuck that guy.
we need to work together as different races to fight that race.
Even though it's just like we're just here, man. We're just flying.
We're just chilling, man.
I enjoyed seeing Saw Gerrera though. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that was last episode. Yeah, I just tripped my balls. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, sorry. I watched both of them back to back, so they're kind of a blur to me. But
Kaz is not going to be excited.
Seeing Saw Gerrera was kind of neat. I just really like his character, and I really love seeing the different factions of rebels. Like Saw calling out like this dude's a separatist.
Yeah,
was really cool. I love that.
We were saying because that name sounds so goddamn familiar. It isn't anything, but I thought it was something at first. It really got me. I wonder if we're even going to see that like by the end of the show. I don't know.
Yeah,
I find the structure of the show to be weird, but I liked the call outs that they were giving because they even the last one he said was human cultists. And I'm like, I want to see that group. Let's go there, dude.
Well, that makes me wonder if they're talking about Mandalorians.
Oh,
because
no way, man. He'd be able to tell, right?
I don't know.
I think that like Mandalorians are like Mandalorians before you would call them human cultists. You know what I mean? Like you see that armor.
Well, it depends. It depends. Like if you're talking about the Death Watch, they are cultists.
But
like
they're identifiable as like Mandalorians, though. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
No. I'm not saying you don't. To be fair, you're not wrong, right? Like Bo-Katan does call even she does call Din's thing like a cult, I think, even in the episode that she
said. Because the Death Watch themselves are
she's a cult
splinter faction that's part of like their own cult, and then Din's whole thing is a splinter of a splinter, and they're full on in cultist mode.
There's so many cults in the Mandalorian society,
dude. That's really just Star Wars, dude. There's like the Jedi cult, the Sith cult, the Mandalorians cult.
What does a cult have to be a cult?
Yeah, like is like Christianity a cult?
Hold up, let me look up cult definition, like straight up.
Like how is like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I should bring in
a
like
system of religious veneration and devotion directed toward a particular figure or object.
So like Christianity.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, like I'm trying to say with Mandalorians, like I don't know if do they have like a guy?
They're just saying like,
do they have a guy like?
I think it's seemingly like a cult is about like
weapons.
You're right. You got me. Boom. He says weapons are my religion. Weapons are my cult. Is what you should.
Right. So it looks specifically cult is a term that doesn't refer to a religion at all, but is applied to a social movement.
we're getting different definitions here because
That
mine
just sounds like religion with extra steps.
yeah.
Well, I looked up cult versus religion because now I'm like, geez, I'm like, what is the difference?
This is the rabbit hole we've now stumbled across.
Yeah, right. All from Star Wars.
I have something. Am I
Well,
the
Saw
one that
Gerrera.
doesn't give a shit about that fucking ISB guy? Or like not but like he's working with the ISB girl now. Like what's his
No,
face
but he's
again?
not though. Not Blevin. Fucking Cyril. Yeah, Cyril.
Am I the only one that doesn't give a shit about him and his fucking cereal talking to his goddamn mom?
Oh,
you know,
my
I think
God.
he's the most
This
intriguing
episode-
character in the show.
Yeah, this episode brought me into him a little bit because it was like, oh, he's creepy, and that makes it
Yeah.
cool. Like it makes it like it does make it cool. I want to clarify. Like I'm not saying in
Am
general.
I wrong? Am I wrong for thinking that she was into it?
This is the hard part, right? Because we're a
I
bunch
think
of
they're gonna
dudes.
get it. I think they're gonna get together, man.
Maybe. I don't want to say it because like the way that he was being was actually fucking bad. Like that was not good. He
So
was-
I mean, look, yeah, it's creepy, but at the same
Stocky.
time, she didn't do anything about it. She could have, and it kind of comes across to me as like, I don't know, maybe she's into this.
oh yeah, I don't know because I did kind of ship it.
Yeah, right.
Guys, I'll tell you right here, right now, I'm a huge shipper in shows. If I don't have a ship in a show, I kind of can't be in it. But when that happened, I was like, oh.
Yeah, like I saw it and I'm like, this is undeniably creepy, but they are both creepy, shitty people. So
Another thing that I've also noticed with the I don't know what's her name in the show. I can't think of her name.
Daedra, is that the ISB chick?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I saw an interview she did about her character, and it was like, this is a prime example of how power corrupts not just men, but it corrupts everyone.
Yeah, she was
Wow.
being very outward about saying things like that. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you
like
for saying
how,
something like that. I love that.
because if you notice as well, like at the start, she was very much like just kind of plucky, sort of, actually, I don't agree with this, we could be doing this, and then was kind of
Right.
pushing it. And then once she got given that power, it was like that complete mental shift of
Well,
Yeah,
like
she-
my turn.
yeah,
you're
exactly. And like in the
inferior.
last episode, it's like we no longer can see her as like this I mean, she's still an antagonist in a certain sense, right? But like we can see her. We were rooting for her in certain senses, but now it's like fuck. Now you're doing
She's now
shit that's
become
brutal.
she's become the one thing she swore to destroy.
Wow.
Well, I think that
Nice.
what Cyril said to her is actually spot on because he's saying to her like, you're just like me, and they are. They're almost exactly
They're
alike.
obsessed. They're obsessed over the same outcome, but they have two
Right.
different ways of going about it.
Yeah, and they're both people who are trying to prove themselves in a very dog eat dog kind of world.
Yeah,
They're both
Which is why-
craving power.
which is why when you said about shipping them, I don't necessarily ship them, but I think, and I don't necessarily agree with that she's into it. I think she's looking at what he's actually doing, his actions, and thinking, actually, realistically speaking, he can be my scapegoat because he will get himself into trouble, but he'll find me my answers. I can use this.
That's a
Here's
good
a
point.
body I
Yeah.
can use.
She might be looking at him as like a way to just like a pawn in her game.
Well,
yeah,
because,
so the
okay,
way she might be luring him in to use him as bait.
because what
sort of
was
my
happening in
thought
this
process.
episode, her secondary guy, her assistant, was being very like not pushy, I'd say, but like he would do things that she was about to do, right, and make himself look good. I think that he
Yeah.
will probably try to take her position. She will kill him, and then Cyril will become the new one, or something like that. Like that seems
I think
like a path.
the way that they've shown these ISB officers is how Sith are depicted in
Yeah.
classic lore. Is how the second you are more powerful than your master, you chop the head. You're in charge. You know, it's like that. That's how they're trying to show that actually this is how it works.
But does that really make the Sith stronger in theory? Because you could just wait until your Sith master is fucking old as shit, like Palpatine, and then just chop his head off.
Well, he waited until he was sleeping. It wasn't even necessarily the old as shit. He was still powerful in a sense, right? Just
No, but the idea is a Sith truly is a Sith once they have overcome and like are now above their like teacher, if you will.
Yeah.
And in this is kind of like I say, it's kind of like showing how yes, you have the two generals and stuff like that, or the admirals, whatever they are, because obviously it's the Navy, I guess. But how
Space Navy.
so this is now a stage where she's pushing to even try and supersede these people, but then she's also got her assistant who's also feeling the power and thinking, well, if my boss can do it, I can do it, and if I'm doing it, I'm going to get more clout, I'm going to get easier access here because she's already there. And it's all a power vacuum, and that's how they're portraying this.
But I want them to kiss.
You know
Yeah,
what?
I do. I love that comparison though. In general, Dan, like I don't remember the exact phrase, but it's always like one to hold the power and the other to crave it, or something like that. I think that's
Yes,
like
yeah,
that embodies like the imperial machine, right? Where it's like always trying to climb this
Yeah.
thing.
And I can see this working out more for her too, because like Cyril is driven to a fault. Like he will ruin his life
to
to
prove a point.
pursue his ambitions, and she is a little bit more calculated. She's willing to do whatever she can to get power, but she's not like overly driven to the point where she's breaking things. Whereas he's like an unstable version of her.
No,
The
and I
difference
think,
is,
yeah, like what you guys said with him being the scapegoat. Like I see that being a total storyline where it's like,
Yeah.
and I actually don't care about you, and get fucked.
the difference is he's driven to the point that he's willing to self-destruct, whereas she's driven to the point that by any means necessary, and that is a very clear-cut
Exactly.
difference between the two.
Yeah, he'll self-destruct and she'll destroy.
Yeah. Seek and destroy.
Yeah. I'm on the opposite end of the
That'll be their
fence
tag
from
team
you,
duo
AJ.
name.
Because I think that I think for me personally, the best parts of the show are watching the ISB people,
Yep.
watching Cyril. I like the prison stuff, but the biggest flaw of this show for me, aside from the really weird pacing, is that I just don't give a single shit about Cassian Andor.
Well, I was specifically saying him eating his goddamn cereal, talking to his fucking mom all the time.
Dude,
I like those
really
scenes.
love
If
those
anything, yeah,
scenes.
like those scenes I enjoy because like I'll admit that the writing of the show is good. Like it's just that it's like
That's great.
so like when scenes like that, when two characters are interacting that are well written and just have a banter together, like I'm like, oh fucking hell, I'm in, and then I just
Yeah,
fucking
I feel the
phase
same
out when
way.
certain characters come on. I'm like, I don't care. Like Bix Colleen,
Well,
like
that-
even though she was getting,
Yeah,
like,
Bix, honestly, like I did not give a shit about.
which we have a thing at the end of this that I definitely want to bring up, but okay.
I think out of that.
I just really enjoy seeing more of just like the day-to-day, like the human element of Star Wars, and just seeing like a dude in his apartment talking to his mom. Like we've never seen that in Star Wars, like
I don't
ever.
care.
And that's what I want. Is I really enjoy
Mhm.
seeing like Cyril at his day job. I love that stuff, man. That's what I want more of.
Yeah,
I think the other thing as well is like, even if you look at something like Solo, for example, how they show the Mimban situation, right, where it's you're actually seeing just how down and dirty the Empire are willing to go to achieve their goals, like how much secrecy they're willing to use, and how much smoke and mirrors they're willing to go through to achieve not even something major, just something so minuscule, right, over one individual that isn't really doing that much at this moment in time. It's currently in one of their own prisons that they don't know about. It's like it's very twisted, and I like, in a sense, the way that they've gone, like they've just gone ham with it. They've not held back in the fact that they will get what they want, but they do not give a shit on how they're going to achieve it. It's
Well, that also
cool.
like adds to like the throughout this, like there's that one ISB girl who's like going after Andor because she thinks he's super dangerous, but like I feel like no one really knows what he did yet, and like I think they're going like it feels like they have future insight about what he might like what he's going to do. You know,
well, I think that like she isn't even. I don't think that she is going after. She doesn't know he might be involved, sure, but I think
but
that
like Cyril was like, because Cyril was like, oh, you know that Andor is also a danger.
Well, I think that like him saying that is showing his own kind of looking in on her situation, right? Like he's interpreting what she's doing as that, but it's not actually her whole thing. Her whole thing is much more grand than just getting Cassian Andor, you know?
Yeah.
She's hell bent on proving that there is a rebel alliance and trying to snuff it out before it becomes what it becomes.
Yeah, and he's like latched on to Andor as like this object of hatred that has like ruined his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even in that
I
episode when
think
he's
that-
getting interrogated, right? Like he's saying how, oh, this is entirely wrong, but what he mentions is entirely wrong is so minuscule and about Cassian and shit that it's like, oh, like that wasn't even really relevant, buddy. But
Right.
okay,
I think this show really suffers from the fact that it was cut down, because I think it was supposed to be like mini seasons.
it was
right? Like
5 seasons,
seasons,
five
five
seasons
seasons,
apparently, yeah.
and they cut it down to 2, right?
Yep.
I think that shows. I wonder how much of it they'd had written out because it really does. Like, I feel so disconnected from what's happening now than what was happening 3 episodes ago.
Well, it's funny that you say that, Richard, because actually, is it David Esquire or is that the DC guy? I can't remember. The person who writes the show and Diego Luna, they were asked to do an interview recently about that, and they pretty much were like, actually, the 2-season structure is a much better thing that because we didn't want to do this for 5 years. Like, they didn't want to be like latched onto the show for that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's sad.
I don't know.
But like, yeah, just, like, what are we doing here?
It feels really, really, really rushed in the slowest possible way, and I don't understand it.
Well, because once we have next episode next week, right? It's going to be the prison break. At least I hope. And then we only have 2 more episodes to do what to get him into the alliance. Like, and then
it feels to me like the
I think that
first
might be
season
season 2.
should have been like the heist.
Like, they've already pretty much said that season 2 is him in the alliance doing missions. Like,
well, yeah, Yavin.
The last episode of the show, they've pretty much spoiled this already. The last episode will have him going to the Ring of Kafrene, where he meets the guy in Rogue One.
Huh.
So it's
I feel
he's
like
in.
The whole first season should have been like the heist and like Cassian doing Cassian things, and the entire second, like, it feels like the first season should have ended with him going to jail, and the second season should have picked up with him in prison and getting out of that, and then ends with him joining the alliance, and then that's where the show ends. We don't need more of that. We don't need to see
we had
in the alliance.
You guys can't even handle 3 episodes of him in prison.
But that's
like,
what I'm about with 5 seasons of a shorter, like if it was like 6 episodes a season and not 12, like maybe that could work for me. But if it was like a 12 episode, 5 season show and 1 season we were on this fucking prison, no, I'm sorry, I would not want to do that.
I'm on the other end. I feel like the prison stuff is some of the more intriguing stuff in the show, and
cool world building. Like, I like that.
Needs to be. I feel like it would be better suited if it were longer. Like, him just going to prison, us seeing prison, and now he's broken out of prison is like, well, what was the point of any of this then?
I think what it'll be is it's just showing Cassian more and more and more of how the Empire is coming down, and certain people dying are probably going to affect him a certain way that'll push him towards being like, okay, I should help
like
the Rebel Alliance. Exactly, yeah.
Well, that's the only part of the writing that I think is kind of questionable, because it's like, we know this. We don't need to be shown that the Empire's bad. We know this. We've known this since the fucking 70s.
And like, the thing is, like, and he knows it, and he knows it too. So it's like we're watching him go from being like, I know that the Empire's shitty, but I ain't gonna do anything about it, to like, okay, I'll try to do something about it, but still not be a good person in the fucking place, you know? Like,
yeah, it's. I feel like every episode is really, really slow paced, but it just kind of feels like stretched, in like, weird ways. Like, the pacing of this show is just
like
strange to
too
me.
much bread.
and, yeah. Wait, what's that
Like,
from?
some stuff feels.
That's from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, that's what. Oh, dude. Oh,
It's
when you said
Bilbo.
that, I wanted to
feel-
cry. Yeah,
I feel stretched like butter over too much toast.
brutal. The movie just makes me want to cry.
I am enjoying the show. I just I think, for me personally, I'd like it better if it were just paced a little bit differently.
Yeah, no,
Like,
absolutely.
I don't like how it's like there's 2 episodes of almost nothing happening, and then 1 episode of, oh, look at all the stuff that's happening, and then it's back to nothing happening, and it's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, outside of the heist episode, I don't remember anything that happened before that.
I remember. Well, I remember the big thing, like in the first arc, where it was like, "Hey, now we got Cassian has met Luthen finally, and they're escaping, doing their whole thing." That was nice, but
Did it need to be multiple episodes?
no, exactly, dude. Okay, and Richard, you hadn't watched Tales of the Jedi yet when I asked you. Have you watched it yet?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna
Okay.
try
Watch
to
it.
tonight.
Okay.
Because like with what I'm
Sorry,
saying,
bro.
like going from Andor, which I think at that point we only had seen like the 7 episodes when it came out, but like fucking hell, 7 episodes of the show is doing so little, whereas
Yeah,
15 minutes of an animated show does more for me than any of this.
Yeah, I want to clarify too, because I've been kind of wishy-washy on this subject, because I believe in an earlier episode I was talking about how I like that it was stretched out and longer. My problem isn't that it's got a slow pace. I actually enjoy the slow pace. I think it serves the story better when it's more tense and paced more like a spy novel or something. I just feel like the pacing's just weird. Like, there is a lot of the time just nothing happening. Like literally like 20 minutes of just people standing around and like looking at each other. And
Yeah, like
it's like,
cranking a
why do we
machine that is
need
kind of going to
this?
go nowhere.
It
Right,
kind of
and it's-
reminds me of, and I think the best way that they could have done this is, like you said earlier, Richard, is rather than it being sort of 2 episodes of nothing and one like everything's here, oh my god, like unfortunately that's kind of how the Marvel shows have gone. And while
Right.
yes, they were enjoyable, but it kind of ruins the experience. Like if they had just gone with it being like steady Eddie, the way I would describe it, sort of thing, where it's something happens each episode, but it's worked in with a bit of better pacing to tell the story, that would have probably been a better way to go about it. Because, like you say, at the minute it'd be like 2 episodes of like, it was cool, but and you'll have that one episode was like, fuck, this was awesome.
Right.
But
Well,
then it's-
the problem is that this is just like all of the Marvel stuff. This was not written as a show. This is a movie. This is a
Yeah.
movie that's just been stretched out. Because like when you look at like the act, like not an act,
Like
but
the
like the way
habits.
that a show is
Yeah.
written, right? You have an act 1, act 2, act 3, act 4, right?
Yep.
And this show, an entire episode will feel like an act 1.
Yeah.
It's just setting stuff up. Nothing happens.
And it ends,
And,
and,
like-
you're like, what?
Yeah, and then it's over, and you're like, okay.
Like,
and
I
then the
thought it was
next
gonna do
episode is
something.
Act 2, and then the episode after that is Act 3, and then instead of getting an Act 4, it goes back to Act 1 again, and it's like this doesn't work very well, and I think that's probably why people aren't enjoying this show, is because a lot of the times it just feels unfulfilling to watch it because
I
you're
think
just
that-
watching nothing happen.
It might get better when it's all out and people can just binge it in a sense, because like that's week to week it's pretty rough, because I always come on and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, there's not a lot even happened this episode in a sense, right?
I've
Like,
said this before. I am desperately waiting for the inevitable fan cut where it's made into a movie.
yeah, oh yeah, I haven't even watched the Obi-Wan one for that, but I heard that
It's
was amazing.
so much better. It
I
is
bet.
infinitely better than the Obi-Wan show.
Like, cause, like the
Infinitely
way
better than
that
you.
was paced out, and there were just
Shut up.
so many slow moments. I like the Obi-Wan show, especially by the end of it. But like, man, dude, like,
Obi-Wan suffered from the same thing this does. I would die on that hill. It does, because both shows are great. I'm loving both shows. Like I thought Kenobi was one of the best shows I've seen in the last few years. You know, hold me to that. Okay,
Yeah.
You can quote me if you will. But again, it suffered in 3 or 4 aspects of it. It was great, but it was just come on, there we go. You know,
Yeah,
not,
move it along,
oh my god,
please.
oh my god, oh my god. It was.
I think
this is
Obi-Wan
cool.
had some flaws that people don't. Well,
I would love to talk about it.
yeah, I think that I think the problem is, and this we see this a lot with like She-Hulk and Rings of Power too, where if you criticize something, you're instantly kind of lumped into like, oh, this guy's just a shithead, you know? Because like I do think that there's a lot of merit to the idea that Reva in Obi-Wan's kind of a shit character. Like her character is just whack. It's just a badly written character. And
There's a waste
Obi-Wan
of a
is
good actress, in my opinion.
oh, she's a great actress. I have no issue with her. I just think
Yeah.
that her character was like, eh. And then Obi-Wan did a lot of what I would consider to be uncharacteristic things in that show. Like it does, some of the stuff that Obi-Wan does in that show doesn't make any sense. And on the flip side, with this show, Cassian Andor is probably acting like his character, but who gives a shit about his character?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Fuck it. We're doing it right now. Who gives a shit about Cassian? Apparently, there are rumors that Bix Khalid is gonna get a fucking show. People,
Like, who the fuck is that gonna be, though?
Please. Like,
Who
look,
is that?
Bix is, a
Bix
cool
is the
character.
girl on the
She's the one
on
that was
Ferrex.
tortured.
Yeah, she's the one tortured in this episode. Yeah,
What the fuck? She's been in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
it's a rumor.
Just
She-
give me my Rangers of the New Republic and my fucking acolytes.
It's gonna be 6 episodes of her reliving the experiences of her being tortured.
Yeah, like if that happens, people don't.
I'm so over it because I like the Disney Marvel.
Man, I want Jar Jar
formula
Binks.
is just so samey.
Story.
Like there's a season 1 that usually pulls you in, and I typically really enjoy the season 1 with the exception of She-Hulk, and then season 2 is like, all right, now we got to connect it all, and that's where I'm like checked out.
Yeah, now we
like
got
I hated season 2 of The
fan
Mandalorian.
service. I didn't say I hated it, but I noticed what they were doing. Like it
Yep.
was so fucking blatantly in your face that season that it was absurd.
And
But-
I think part of the reason why people loved The Mandalorian so much was because it it kind of harkened back to the older days of television, where like you can wake up and watch your Xena Warrior Princess or your
Yeah.
Kevin Sorbo's Hercules, and it's just like episodic, flavor of the week kind of adventures.
But
and
there
that was
is
why
like
the
a
first season
slight
was so
overarching
good.
story, like, and then, like, even like the people bitched about the pacing of that story being told, but I was like, fuck, people, like, this is such a nice little like dropping of like information lore occasionally. But then I think season 2 was like, let's just do a bunch weirdly in times, and I was like, okay, we could have done that a little bit like cleaner, I think, in the next season, but okay. And then it's even worse for the next season, holy shit, because fucking Grogu's gonna be there, and people who hadn't seen Boba Fett are gonna be like, what? But
Why is Grogu back?
he
Yeah,
had
I
an
think-
emotional leave, and he's fucking back. Oh shit.
I think Filoni is kind of turning into Lucas, where like Filoni
I hope not.
creates something beautiful and slowly just becomes dumber and dumber.
Well, I think the problem with that is that we as fans, we put too much goddamn heroism, I guess, into these people, where we elevate them into gods of like, oh, Dave Filoni, we trust. But when Dave Filoni makes one mistake, it's like, God damn it, Dave Filoni, and it's like, hey, well,
That's fair.
he's leaving. He's a human being, people, right? He's gonna fucking
Yeah, but
fumble
he's
sometimes,
falling into the same kind of traps that Lucas was falling into.
I
where
agree.
he's
I agree. But
Suddenly, like he's this godlike Star Wars man who no one's going to question. So now, what are we gonna get? A whole bunch of Ahsoka shit because that's his baby.
well, and a whole bunch of,
And I'm-
wolf and
I
pup
hate
stories.
Ahsoka.
Like that's
I'm
I
just-
don't want to be that guy, but like literally we saw it 3 times already, right? In Mando, in Bad Batch, and now, or not now, but in Obi-Wan as well. Like it was all wolf and cub.
Yeah, and Filoni
He loves that.
I feel like he's just like he's the next George Lucas, where he started off doing like basically fixing Lucas's mistakes, and becomes elevated to the point where he's like, oh man, he's the new Star Wars man. Lucas is out, Filoni's in, and now he's fucking it up.
Always, and then he'll get an apprentice, and then we'll look to him. You know, it'll be a cycle.
Oh my
It's
God,
the-
there's
it's the
Sith Lords.
exactly.
I keep telling you guys.
Holy shit, Lucas and Filoni it's the rule of 2. Oh my God, Lucas fell so that Filoni could rise to power. Who's next? Who's gonna be next?
Me, I'm doing it. Fuck it.
Let's
I'm
take
gonna
it
become
over.
the apprentice.
I'm going
I'm
in.
flying to California.
That's like the dark way of thinking. It's like we'll be better, and it's no, it's not. It's just a
That's the
continuous.
foolish way of thinking.
It's a continuous darkness fall. Speaking
Man,
about
that's
characters
wild.
who are pissing me off a little bit, and I wanted more from, Bix, like that's kind of the little connection there, I guess. But Mon Mothma, I was excited to see her in the show because of political drama.
Mhm.
Like she is always in her fucking room.
Yes, yes.
That's
this is what I
another
was
thing.
saying
I don't-
earlier. I hate
I completely
her character.
forgot she's
so
in this
boring.
because I don't give a shit
Because,
about
like,
any of
when
this.
she go to like, yeah, sure, there was like a
Oh,
she was a scene
oh,
in the
I'm gonna-
Senate.
Guys, guess
You guys
what?
are
She
hate me.
gets money and starts a rebellion. We already fucking knew this shit, man.
You're gonna hate me here, but
Like-
I think it emphasizes the fact that just how the Empire are. I think that is why they're doing it, because we all know that Mon Mothma obviously is the driving force behind it. We all know that. That's fucking common knowledge. But the fact that they're using her in this capacity, I think they'll obviously expand on this more in the next season. We're not stupid, but
Yeah,
I think the fact that they're doing it so that she's now at a stage where she is still a massive political figure in the Empire. Like she is still highly regarded, but she cannot do anything because the Empire do not trust her, and that is why she's always in her rooms, because
Yeah,
she is
so-
confined.
I guess.
I agree and I disagree. So I do agree. Like I didn't really enjoy the Senate scene, and I like seeing like the sort of hopelessness of trying to
you didn't
pursue.
really, or you did.
I did. I liked the
okay.
Senate scene. I like kind of seeing the hopelessness of Mothma trying to pursue what is like a noble democratic cause, and how it's just failing, and like
Yeah.
this new system is set up to where like people are just like, yeah, fuck this, and they just turn off their light and walk away. I like seeing that.
Man, I wish I could do that
The
with
problem, though-
conversations.
The problem
turn
though,
off the
that I
light,
have
please.
is other than that scene, every scene with Mon is just her in some fancy room talking to fancy people, and it's like I swear to God, I've seen
filmed
the
all her
same scene with
scenes
her
in the same
3
day.
times.
They filmed it
Yeah.
all on the same day. Like it was like we're done
Like
with you,
I've
Mom, you can
I've
go home
seen
now.
her at like 3 different dinner parties now, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like this is all the same scene.
I
Like, all
thought
of
we
that
would
could
be
have been
seeing
condensed
more
down
like
to one.
specific meetings with, not like of course references because I don't need that, but like just meetings with other senators being like, what the fuck what are we doing? Well, can I convince you? Something like that. Like more of a dynamic thing that she's doing rather than I'm just sitting in my room waiting for. I mean, Vel being her cousin was a thing, I guess, but I don't know if I care. It was a thing.
I hated that. I hate that so much.
Well, they teased that in the last episode a little bit because
they did.
Her
They were
girlfriend was like,
you,
"Oh, you're a runaway."
we can't all be spoiled rich girls
yeah.
or whatever." But I hated that. It's one of my biggest problems with Star Wars and with Marvel right now is that everything has to be connected to everything, and it's just, why does she have to be Mon's cousin? Why does that matter? And to me personally, I think that's one of the dumbest things in this show, like intellectually stupid. Like there is no way that this super duper rich girl can just disappear and be like in the dirt, boots on ground, fighting the Empire, and then just throw her dress back on and come back. Like not in a world where with spaceships and satellites and tracking. Like, there's no way.
Would you feel that way about
there's
like
no
Cassian
way.
then too in that capacity, right? Because he did the exact same thing in the last episode.
Unfortunately, I don't feel anything for Cassian because he might as well not exist as a character.
He's a ghost to you on the show. Whenever Cassian
honestly
comes up, you see everyone else but him.
Seriously, like the prison scene, I'm more interested in like Andy Serkis. I don't give a shit about
I love
Cassian.
Andy Serkis' character in the show now, like, especially with like the never more than 12. Like that ending was dope. I loved that.
Right. Andy Serkis is a fucking goat, dude.
Yeah, right.
I like
this Snoke origin is crazy.
Yeah.
You like what?
The Snoke origin.
They kept his they kept him being hired like completely hush. They did not want anyone to know that he was involved.
Because
the moment I heard his voice, I knew it.
They knew people would be like, Snoke is in the show?
Yes, Snoke!
Like, they knew that people would do that if they heard that Andy Serkis was in this.
But I also like the little arcs that his characters had. Like, he's gone from it being like a proper like drill sergeant sort of thing, or like a warden, to now at the end of this episode, he's like, never more than 12. Let's do it.
He understood, because he was like, I'm going to get out of here. But then he realized, oh shit, none of us are getting out of here. Like, we're fucking fucked. So we got to do something. Like, we got to fucking rise up. Or because he has, like, I think, what, like, a little over a year? Or was that someone else? So I think he said a year.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah, a little under a year.
That scene kind of raised a question for me. Because, like, okay, so what happened on deck 2 or whatever is they cycled a man out who was being freed, and they put him in a deck, and they found out, and it's like, yeah, like people talk.
I'm confused also by what.
Well,
so did they imply that like
what happened was they killed the entire deck too.
Yeah, but they killed them because they found out, and it's like, of course they found out. Like, you just told a guy who's going to be free, and then you put him back to work. Of course he's going to talk about it. They can still talk. That was one thing where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, they didn't know that they could talk because they've been talking with like hand signs.
Yeah, these dumb motherfuckers.
but God
damn it.
So this guy was on like deck 5, and he gets freed, right? And then they put him in deck 2. Of course he's going to tell the people in deck 2, hey, I was freed yesterday, and now they just put me back to work. Do you see what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, of course he's going to talk. I was also terrified during that scene where they're like, what's happening on deck 2? I was so scared they were going to be like, oh, here's Vader.
Oh, you meant
scared
Vader. Like that way. You meant scared. I thought you meant like you actually felt like tension in that scene, that you were like, oh
no. Like I was, I felt tension. My tension.
I felt tension, but then Darth Vader just burst through the door and starts.
And then I lost it.
And then Andor
the tension
dies.
For me was fear, like worried that they were going to do a stupid Vader cameo where Vader does a Daredevil hallway walk where he kills everybody in deck 2.
I think the cameo that we're gonna see maybe would be Palpatine in the Senate. Like that would be it.
I think we're definitely gonna see Palpatine. There's no way we won't. They've name dropped him too many times.
I don't know. Political way.
Or what, Dan?
I think they'll do it in a political way, not necessarily as a Sith Lord.
Oh yeah, he'll be in the Senate. Like yeah, for sure. Like I think that'll be where he'll show up.
Which is why
finally come down and be like, Mothma, you stupid bitch! Like I'm gonna tell you how it is.
No, he's definitely gonna be a Sith Lord. Like he's full on like Emperor Palpatine at this point. Like
no.
Looks
but like
the way he looks.
Yeah. But yes and no, right? Because we've seen that he publicly I don't know if this is like confirmation, but in Rebels, like he does like a hologram projection where he looks normal, right? Like he looks
Okay.
good, but like so yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Because he does say, "Oh, like I was left scarred by the Jedi," and so it's like, well, are you not publicly?
Yeah,
I
like
get what you're saying, but I think that he also is known as the Emperor, and like he'll show up sometimes, maybe.
yeah, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't think that once the Empire was created, I don't think Palpatine ever gave a shit about maintaining appearances of being Shmi or whatever. Like he was once the Empire was the Empire, he looks the way he looks.
The Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
hard one though.
he stops giving a shit. Like he did his thing. He already did it. And like the Empire's very aware that Vader is a goddamn Sith Lord, and I'm pretty sure they're aware that
I don't think
Palpatine is also.
I don't think they are. I think that's certain. I think Thrawn maybe has figured it out. Maybe Tarkin. I don't
What do you
think
mean?
that.
They're not aware that Vader's a Sith Lord?
No, they just are like, yo, you're like a.
That's like a constant thing, and like
Let me look
all the media where like people are like, "Holy shit, you're Anakin Skywalker."
Well, like in Lords of the Sith, there was like this was like a book where Palpatine like whipped out Force lightning at a caliber that even Vader was like, whoa, and so and everyone died. Like nobody lived to see that because he couldn't allow it, right? Like it was like
Nobody lived to see another
Well,
day.
so the Empire's huge, so like it stands to reason, of course, and we see this on A New Hope, that not everyone is fully aware of what Vader can do. But Vader goes on campaigns and shit. Like people see him being a Sith Lord.
Well, but I don't like, okay, publicly, right? Like in the universe, right? Jedi are even going out of fashion. Sith, I think that's a concept that people probably aren't even that familiar with.
So let me rephrase this. I don't think that they know that he is a Sith Lord. Like they don't know the nomenclature, but they know that he is like a
Well, yeah, they know that he has
Jedi.
They know
bad
that he's
dude.
got like mystical powers for sure, but I don't
Yeah.
think they know that about Palpatine. I think that they know that about Vader, but Palpatine doesn't outwardly show that he does that.
So my brain gets caught up in the old lore, right? Because I read a lot of the older books, the legacy books. I read a lot of the older comics.
we get it. You're an old
and-
man.
Yeah, but
I read some of it too. I'm a young kid.
well, my point though is that in the legacy stuff,
All right, old
Palpatine was just Sith Lord Palpatine publicly. He didn't give a shit.
Really?
I don't
That's
know-
not what I remember about that even.
He would literally just walk around in his dark robes,
Well,
not
but no,
giving a single fuck.
Okay, your concept of being a Sith, people walk around in robes in Star Wars, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
But my point though is that he's not hiding the fact that he's got magical powers.
Hold
Like,
on.
that's-
Let me look this shit up because like there's like a comic where why would Bail Organa or whatever back in the day be like, yo, I'm gonna bring Leia right to Palpatine because he did that in one thing. I don't think that it was known what his power was. In,
I
like,
mean,
the
he
universe.
literally like clones himself, and everybody knows
That is okay, but see now you're bringing that's after he falls though. Like then it's very known. I would say.
That's my point. Is like there's a point in the Empire where Palpatine stops giving a shit about whether or not people see him as like this former senator. He just
But
stops
I think that's
caring.
after his death. Like I don't think that.
Yeah,
Like,
he clones like the clones are revealed after he's like.
well, and I
dead.
think that I would imagine that when the rebellion like beats him right there, and Luke is like, "Oh shit, people, that was a Sith Lord." Not oh shit, but like
Shit, dude, that was a Sith.
I think at that point they were like, "Oh damn!" Like like those were Sith. In the wider galaxy, at least, I don't know. In Bloodlines, I think they cover that in one of the new books, at least, or at least the fact that Leia is Darth Vader's son. Like that was a big thing that came out in that book. But, oh no, sorry, daughter. Oh, wait, no, Leia. Yeah, Leia is Darth Vader. Yeah,
Leia is Darth Vader's daughter.
okay, gotcha. You fucking stuttered on my words there.
That was hard for you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wrong. So I just looked it up, and for the most part, no, Palpatine had a rule that anyone who witnessed him using the Force had to be eliminated.
Yeah,
So I'm just full on wrong about that.
because and I guess Bale would know. So why the fuck was he doing that in the first place? Or did he know?
I don't think
I
he
don't know,
did.
man.
Maybe he
I
did.
imagine he probably suspected but never had clarification.
Because he comes up he meets with Obi-Wan and Yoda.
Maybe
on
he
the
knew
Tantive.
and he just was smart about it and be like, yeah, motherfuckers die when they know about this shit, so I'm not gonna do anything.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
So here's how I think that Andor's going to end.
Okay.
Right?
I can't wait.
And
Wait, you mean like this season or season 2? Because we know how season 2 is gonna end.
this show's going to end with Andor rethinking the way he feels about the Rebel Alliance, and he's going to go to get on a ship. And who steps off the ship? Mace Windu with his new son, Scar.
Fucking
Scar,
bro. If they fucking bring him back in anything,
I'm gonna
might be when I leave. That might be my
That would
She-Hulk.
close the book for me.
That might be my She-Hulk.
That would close the book.
I'd be
like
like
She-Hulk turned me off the Marvel universe, and if they bring back Mace Windu, which they will,
no, they
won't, man.
Dude.
Don't
I will close
say
the door
that.
and I will walk
At
away from Star Wars.
Best, okay, here's my thing. Okay, next season of Tales of the Jedi, I'd be cool with 3 episodes of Mace, and the last one is him falling out the fucking window and being in like the alleyways for like the last little bit of his life before he gets fucking gatted by some stormtroopers or at that point.
Like that'll be the best of both worlds because it'd be like he's alive and he's dead,
and he's dead like he should be.
He did survive, like we said, and he's dead.
That's
I
what I
would
hope
put
for.
cash money on this. That within the next, let's say, 5 years, we see Mace Windu.
Okay. I will literally put money down on this. Yeah, like
Well, he was already in the Tales of the Jedi, so we already saw him.
But
so,
like, I need to
I'm-
specify what your capacity means, Richard. Like, is he going to
He
show
will
up?
be
Like,
returning as an old man back in the canon, probably with some scars, some dumb scars on his face, and they're gonna be like, "How did you survive?" And he's gonna be like, "Motherfucker, I fell out a window."
motherfucker.
I don't know, but they're gonna bring him back. There is no way that they won't bring him back. Nostalgia sells too well.
No, I get you, but like, then logic also fucking is there. Like, come
My
on.
guy, this is Star Wars, bro. Logic went out the window in the 70s.
I know, because Boba
Fair
Fett came
enough.
back. He kept coming back. I get it. But at least,
Oh, Lucy's so good. I went back for more.
Look, they gave Boba Fett a character who is barely even in Star Wars, his own god awful TV show. Mace Windu's coming back.
no.
Oh, dude, that's
I
Richard.
fucking refuse
I
this
dismiss your
because-
reality and
because no,
substitute it with
I
my
will
own.
Change it because guess what? Boba Fett. I don't care what anyone fucking says. Boba Fett at least 1 billion times cooler than Mace Windu. I don't give a shit. Boba Fett
Not anymore.
looks
They
cool.
ruined him.
Well, sure, but like he's okay. I'd still say I like him more than Mace Windu because I don't give a fuck about Mace Windu. I'm so done with him.
Hey, check
like-
this out.
He literally supposed to be the shitty Jedi, and everyone's like, he's so cool. I'm like, yeah, okay, but he sucks.
Well, yeah, because people like assholes. Okay.
But he's not a good asshole. He's literally
so
like
right.
an annoying, prissy, preppy, rules following little bitch.
So no official announcement has been made. But there are rumors
Shut up.
from the Giant Freaking Robot, which is a website, reporting that the book of Boba Fett is getting a second season and that it's in the works, and
Why?
that their source is
Well,
revealing
fine.
that Samuel L. Jackson would be returning as Mace Windu in the show.
Okay. And then he'll get killed by Boba Fett. And fuck that. If that happens, I'm done. Like I said, I will come on for that discussion of that episode and be like, we're never fucking talking about this again. You guys actually can talk about it.
Star Wars is dead.
I ain't fucking appearing on that show.
Do you
We're
know how
changing
much
the name.
going
It's
to
no
hurt
longer
me?
about Legend.
If Mace Windu shows up in the book of Boba Fett, how much it's going to hurt my soul that Boba Fett, the character that got me into Star Wars and literally changed my life, is also what's going to get me out of Star Wars.
Oh my god, me too! You're making me want to
hurts so
cry!
bad.
Oh, I have to burn my hoodie! I have to
I can't look forward to it.
Oh my god!
I'm not burning my Mandalorian armor. That shit takes a long time to make.
I'll burn my hoodie. I'll burn my hoodie. Oh my god.
Y'all
If that
are
happens, I'm
babies,
gonna
man.
fight
If
the
they
camera.
use my fucking... If they use my boy to bring in my least favorites...
See, I will say personally,
man, his
I love Mace
lightsaber
Windu.
color
I
is
think it's
pretty cool.
great. I think Mace Windu is a really cool character, but I don't want him to come back.
I think he's
Yeah.
cool in the capacity where it's like we can explore why he is the way he is in certain ways, but like... I don't want him back, yeah.
I don't want that guy back in my world.
He
I'll-
died
I'll
when
put a friendly
Palpatine
wager.
blasted him.
I'll put a
Blast
friendly
him.
wager down. If Mace Windu shows up in the next season of in the next season of Book of Boba Fett, I will pay to fly to Vancouver. I will come to yourselves, right? and I will sit with you and stream with you in person just to watch you two cry.
Okay. He
I will-
has said
Okay.
that.
I'm not
So-
gonna cry. I'm fine.
Well, because if Mace, I doubt he's gonna fucking show up. It just narratively would be so what? Like,
Well,
How-
you know I'm gonna come and see you
how
guys
do you
anyway.
doubt
get the
this?
point.
Like,
it just doesn't.
look,
work in
I
the
know-
flow. It's like, why would
I know
Boba
you
Fett-
don't want it. I know you don't want it. I don't either. But
No, but
logic
Richard,
is
like,
out the window.
I don't
dude.
give a fuck. But like, let's think about this logically for like 1 second, okay? It's
They brought
Boba
Cad
Fett.
Bane back just to kill
I don't
him.
care. No, okay,
He brought him
but
back
at
as a
least
90-year-old
He's
man.
a bounty hunter, though, right? So it was like I can see
And it
that.
makes sense
made
for a story.
If Mace Windu showed up random, I guess fucking Mace Windu did kill his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck! Oh, I hate
The penny
this.
has
I'm
dropped.
standing up. I literally am so mad right now because it's starting to make sense. And if he shows up,
Oh, he killed his dad.
it'll
Oh no.
no, okay, but it won't be Mace Windu. It'll be Mace Windu, where he's got an extra U in his. And,
Oh man,
my-
I'm hearing the Saw music in my head right now.
It'd be
as
Mace
Santa
Windu.
connects the dots. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Game over.
It's all connected, man.
Oh, dude, yeah, the ending of
They're
every one
gonna
of
bring
those
him back.
movies, it's like a culmination of how I feel about Star Wars Mandalorian
Yep.
season 2.
And they won't fight. I'll tell you that now. Mace Windu will maybe not even have his lightsaber. He will sit down at a table and he will have a discussion with Boba Fett because the actors playing these two characters are old as shit.
Well, I also think that, like, yeah, like with what we've been saying, this is a hard thing because Boba's kind of like in that last season. It almost felt like he's like, I'm a new man. I don't even give a shit about things in my
I
past.
fucking hate what they did to Boba Fett. They
I'm
completely assassinated his
Ba-ba-ba.
character.
like 50-50 because I liked the idea that he was like, yeah, maybe I did some stupid shit.
Maybe I'm kind of an asshole.
Maybe I'm kinda
Sorry.
dumb.
That's what I liked about him. That's what everybody liked about him.
Yeah,
He's a dummy.
He's a badass. He's not this old. I'm sorry. That's not Boba Fett. Boba Fett doesn't apologize.
Boba Fett died in the Sarlacc, and this is just another clone that was in the Sarlacc, and
Dun,
he
dun,
put the
dun.
armor on.
Da, 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 da.
I love that. I know it would give us copyright, but I really like. I'd love to get that as like a sound, like soundboard thing. We get into like conspiracy time, and it's like dun-dun-dun.
Da-na-na-na-na.
I don't think we'll talk about it later. I'm pretty sure you can play that though. Like I don't think that's a copyright thing.
What do you mean? Like, I guess it would if I play it over like 15 seconds, maybe. But
Yeah, like it's the clip is short enough that it falls into free use because it's like a 10-second thing.
dun-dun-dun. All right, maybe
Anyway.
maybe next stream we'll see something about that.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway, what new cameos do you think we'll see in Andor? We got Saw Gerrera for a minute.
Well,
That was fun.
That
Actually,
one I felt was
that
a
scene was-
given.
Yeah, and that scene was actually really cool. I actually really liked that scene.
I don't fucking give a
We
shit.
saw
about
two
something.
teams. I don't really care either. I found that to be a weird one in general when Rogue One came out and they were like, we're going to take Saw Gerrera from Clone Wars, and he's not really going to be the same character.
And now he's a fucking freak.
like, it is,
Saw Gerrera is the most like racially ambiguous character in Star Wars. Too. Like Saw Gerrera makes racism look stupid because he's been every race.
Uh-huh.
It's so
Oh my
weird.
God. Yeah, no.
He started off as a dude that looked Caucasian, and then they made him.
Like,
Then
I
Rogue
think
One
he looked more
happened. and-
Hispanic.
yeah, I think
so
he looks
that's the
Hispanic.
thing is if you look up his this is a weird word to say for this, but if you look up Saw Gerrera's transition, you'll see that he starts off looking white, and then when Forrest Whitaker plays him, he's black. So they're like, okay, so in Clone Wars we're gonna make him look more Hispanic to kind of like bridge that gap a little bit. So
Okay,
he's been all three.
I'm-
dark.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm looking at a picture of him. And I don't know, man. He in the Clone Wars, he
Like
looked
I definitely see where again at where like he looks different across
he looks
every iteration.
different for sure.
Every time you see Saw Gerrera, he's a different person.
And like even in like Rebels, I think they like purposely like made him like have his eye droopy, so it's like yeah, now he looks more like Forrest Whitaker.
Well, even because in Rebels they did a thing where they did like a time jump for him specifically, where he had the bald look first, and then he had that frilly weird like what band am I thinking of? That funny like '80s hair. It didn't even look like it was like together at all. It was a weird wig, Forrest. It was a weird wig. Is it okay that I call
glad
him
we
by
got
his
to see
first
him,
name? Is it okay? Do you think he
Well,
cares?
are you friends with Forrest Whitaker?
Maybe.
My boy Forrest.
That's why I feel kind of
Mr.
bad shitting on him. in this.
I respect him and call him Mr. Whitaker. All right.
Mr. Whitaker.
Put some respect on his name.
Mr. Whitaker. Yeah, he's
Isn't,
had like so many weird appearances.
Isn't Saw Gerrera in Jedi Fallen Order as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Literally
I think he looks more like Forrest Whitaker in that, but like younger. Dude, Saw's character is just so bizarre. But I don't understand how he went from being like Saw Gerrera to being like, what is wrong? Like, what's wrong with your body?
I think that was maybe the coolest part about him, where it's like, okay, like he's lost a lot of himself in this war, like he's like a changed person, and they literally had to show it to you so ham-fisted that he's
I just want to
like,
know
destroyed.
like what happened, because like I like Saw's character a lot, where he's like he is so dedicated to the cause that he's almost lost his way, that he's full on like anarchist, burn the
cuckoo.
world down, and he's almost he's pretty much gone crazy. But I don't know where I'm going with this. I just like Saw Gerrera.
I think it's cool too, but I just like it's been a weirdly handled character where it's like it could have been like a different character.
Very
in Rogue
strangely
One.
Can't handle. I like seeing him talk with Luthen though. That scene was very cool. Just these two old rebels who are doing things in different ways, just kind of going at each other while still maintaining that mutual respect. I really like that scene. That was a really cool scene. Plus, the mention of separatists is like, yay, they do exist.
Their dynamic together, where they were going back and forth about like who actually did the job and whatnot. Really, I thought that was really well acted and stuff like that. So,
I said this in a different episode, but like I just love it when I like hearing more about like where are the separatists, because they didn't all die. You didn't kill them all. Where are the separatists?
They're just sort of poofed away, you know?
Yeah, it's really cool that Saw specifically mentioned that there are rebel factions that are actual separatists.
yeah, like that's like a big thing that makes up the Rebel Alliance in the end, is all these like persecuted races that were like the separatists anyway.
Yep.
Like this is why we left in the first place, people, because it sucks.
Yep.
Your government wasn't that much better.
The Empire did nothing wrong.
Okay.
I'm just saying, dude. The Empire is just a slightly different version of the Republic.
Yeah. Oh, sure, for sure. But I mean, a little bit more
I don't know.
a little bit more like oppressive. I would say like
A little bit more fascist, if you ask me.
yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Thoughts on this episode, fellas?
I'm kind of the mind that the Jedi, despite all their preachiness, are like is as like fascist secret police as you can get.
Okay, well then,
Yeah.
God
yeah,
damn it,
sure.
Richard! Watch the fucking Tales from the Jedi
I'm
tonight.
gonna, man.
You're gonna love the Dooku episodes.
Okay.
I'm just
All right,
telling
I'll
you.
watch it.
God,
They're not dookie like you might suggest.
and you're gonna feel kind of
Shut up.
okay about the Ahsoka episodes, I imagine, because the Dooku episodes
see.
are really good. And then that was
I'm
like,
just-
wow.
I feel the same way about Ahsoka as I do about. I don't know. I'm sick of Ahsoka.
I mean, I love her, but I mean,
I like her character. I'm just kind of over her. Where it's like, can we just get away
can't
from
wait for her
Ahsoka
show
a
to
little
come
bit?
out in. I think is that coming out next year?
Bro, I don't fucking know.
Ahsoka release.
Honestly,
date.
I'm in the same boat as Richard here, where like Ahsoka's cool. I love Ahsoka. Chill out.
Chill out.
Yeah, can we
like,
just
Jesus.
relax a little bit?
And especially like if this all fucking culminates like they're making it where it goes to like a Thrawn
The
event,
Avengers.
I'm done. Or I'm not done. Okay, but I'm gonna be like, stop making this Marvel. Like it doesn't got to be Marvel.
Oh, it's
Jesus.
Marvel.
Thrawn,
now,
the
baby.
next big bad of the Star Wars, the SWU.
Except he fucking shouldn't be, because he's like, okay, the Empire's done. I guess I'll just figure something else out. Like, why are you still fucking? You're Mr. Logic. This is not logical.
This is
It'll
illogical.
come out in 2023. Like it'll be next year, but
Star Wars is lost, man.
Thrawn hasn't Thrawn already been cast for that show?
yeah. It's the it's I don't
Oh, yeah,
I don't know about that show. I think it's like the overall thing that they're planning. Like he's been mentioned in Mando season 2, right? So in such like a when they did that, I was like, why? Like, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? I'm like, don't call him that, because he doesn't even have a fucking ranking anymore, really.
Yeah,
Hey, he's just a guy now, right?
I just don't care. I just don't care.
I like Thrawn, but I mean, I don't want to see him in this capacity. Like, I wanted to see Thrawn come back, but actually be like, yo, okay, like, I'll change now. Like, I'll be like, since shit went down and it's all fucked when I get back, I'll be better. I don't know. I want to see cool Thrawn. But yeah, what'd you guys think of episode 9 in general? What'd you guys think? Yeah, they're gonna kill him.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good episode. I think it's probably one of the best episodes in the show.
Are you hyped for next week with Prison Break?
Not even a little bit.
Wentworth Miller is gonna show up.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch it.
I was like, really? No,
you even got that,
realized-
Dan. I appreciate that. Dan fucking's a Prison Break stan.
No, I
can't
got
stand it, but I just
yeah.
love them.
For a second, I was
I
like,
don't
really?
care.
He's coming? And then I realized the joke.
No, but like with the other name, even Dominic Purcell and stuff.
Yeah.
Andor is a pretty solid show that I have really like no passion for.
Yeah. I
guess
enjoy talking about it with you guys because we always come up with some random bullshit, but other than that,
It's fun to watch to me because it's Star Wars, and Star Wars is beloved to me.
Star Wars is my baby.
If I didn't know that this show existed, I would have zero interest in watching a show like it. Like Andor to me is just a show that doesn't need to exist at all.
Yeah, I couldn't get behind that, I guess.
A summary. All right, but I think that'll about do for us today for Andor episode 9. We're gonna raid into the ginger,
McClunky!
the ginger
I'm sorry.
shrimp.
Too early.
I jumped the gun.
They are playing Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, one of my favorite horror games, at least.
What a
So,
lovely game.
I love it.
So much better than 8.
Isn't it the DLC?
Okay, like, yeah, it was, but you can fucking chill out there. They were 2 different styles.
8 sucked.
You know what?
McClunky!
You're gonna raid into this, fucking
Richard is never coming back.
I liked it. I agree it wasn't as good. It had the sexiest goddamn character in the last, like, 5 years, probably. But, like,
Wait,
Ethan
which one, what?
Winters.
and then
Which
I
sexy
agree.
character are you talking about?
it was a fun game to run through, because I did the whole thing where you could beat it in under 2 hours. It was fun. I liked it.
McClunky?
Richard, it's okay. You can hate it. I'm just saying I like it.
McClunky.
But yeah, join us. Next stream will be our Token Tuesday stream with Kaz next Tuesday.
I thought that was happening last Tuesday.
No, that unfortunately had to be canceled again. We'll see if it actually happens this week. I'm trying my best here, folks. I'm sorry. But,
God damn it.
and then after that, we will be back hopefully with Roro this Friday, 6 p.m. PST, and then our Andor episode 10 discussion on Saturday at the same time as today, 12 p.m. PST. Thank you guys so much for coming out, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Like,
Oh, what? I already did it. McClunky.